In November 2025, an Australian Tesla Model 3 owner posted a photograph on a Sydney electric vehicle forum. The photograph was of a trade-in offer. The owner had paid 68,000 Australian dollars for the car in 2022. The dealer offered 26,000. The post received over 400 comments in 48 hours. Almost every one of them said the same thing. That happened to me too. Across Australia in the second half of 2025 and into early 2026, used electric vehicle values are not declining. They are collapsing. The owners hit hardest are not the early adopters who paid premium prices in 2018 and 2019. Those owners knew what they were buying. The owners hit hardest are the people who bought their first electric vehicle between 2021 and 2023. The people who waited until the technology felt safe. The people who trusted government incentives, manufacturer marketing, and the promise that electric was the future. The future arrived. It just arrived from China, 2 years later, at half the price. The Electric Vehicle Council of Australia, the peak body for the EV industry in this country, published their 2026 State of Electric Vehicles report in March. Buried in Section 4 was a sentence the mainstream press largely ignored. Used electric vehicle values in Australia have declined at an average annual rate of 22% over the past 3 years, compared to a market average of 9% for comparable internal combustion vehicles. That is not a market correction. That is a structural reset, and it is happening to specific vehicles in specific patterns that every owner needs to understand right now. Sold to Australian buyers as the smart, future-proof, environmentally responsible choice. All 8 today, worth less than 50% of their original drive-away price after just 3 years of ownership. In order from least catastrophic to most, here is what is actually happening. Vehicle 1, the Hyundai Ioniq Electric, sold in Australia between 2018 and 2022. Original drive-away price for the 2021 premium variant, 54,900 Australian dollars. Current Redbook trade-in valuation for a 2021 example, with average kilometres, $23,500. That is a 43% retention rate, a loss of over $31,000 in 3 years. The Ioniq Electric was a competent, well-built first-generation electric vehicle. The problem is not the car. The problem is that Hyundai replaced it with the Ioniq 5, a vehicle with 3 times the charging speed, double the electric range, and an entirely different platform. When a manufacturer publicly orphans a model with a clearly superior successor, the used market does not forgive it. Buyers see the older car next to the newer one and ask the only question that matters. Why would I pay anything close to retail for the obsolete version? Vehicle 2. The Nissan Leaf, second generation, sold in Australia between 2019 and 2024. Original drive-away price for the 2021 Leaf E+, 61,400 Australian dollars. Current Redbook trade-in valuation, $26,000. A 42% retention rate, a loss of over $35,000 in 3 years. The Leaf carries a specific and well-documented problem that no other vehicle on this list has. Battery degradation. The Leaf uses an air-cooled battery pack, a design choice Nissan made to reduce manufacturing cost. Every other manufacturer in the Australian electric vehicle market now uses liquid-cooled battery packs. Air-cooled batteries degrade faster, particularly in Australian summer heat. Used Leaf buyers in 2026 are arriving at inspections with battery health diagnostic apps and walking away when the state of health figure drops below 82%. The result is a used market where most 3-year-old Leafs sit on dealer lots for over 90 days before selling. And dealers know this, which is why the trade-in offer you receive will reflect not just the depreciation, but the carrying cost of a vehicle they expect to struggle to move. Vehicle 3. The MG-Z SEV, first generation, sold between 2021 and 2023. Original drive-away price for the 2022 long range, $46,900. Current Redbook trade-in valuation, $20,500. 43.7% retention. a loss of over $26,000. The MG ZS EV carries the most ironic problem on this list. It is being destroyed in the used market by its own manufacturer. MG Australia is now selling the MG4, the second-generation MG ZS EV, and the MG S5 at drive-away prices that undercut three-year-old first-generation MG ZS EVs on the same showroom floor. A buyer walking into an MG dealership in Sydney in 2026 has a choice. Pay around $26,000 for a 2022 ZS EV with 60,000 kilometers on the clock, or pay around $33,000 for a brand new MG4 with double the range, a faster charger, and a full warranty. The used buyer disappears. The owner of the older car holds the loss. If you own any of the vehicles on this list, the trade-in offer you receive next year will not be the offer you would have received last year. This channel publishes a new investigation every week into exactly what is moving in the Australian car market. Resale crashes, brand exits, workshop refusals, government policy shifts, the data the dealers and wholesalers already have, presented to the people who actually need it. Subscribe to the Calder report. Every video could save you thousands of dollars on the car in your driveway. Vehicle 4. The Tesla Model 3 Standard Range, the rear-wheel drive variant, sold between 2021 and 2023. Original drive-away price for the 2022 Standard Range Plus, $68,400 Australian dollars. Current Redbook trade-in valuation, $28,000, 40.9% retention, a loss of over $40,000 in 3 years. This is the single largest absolute dollar loss of any electric vehicle on this list. 3 reasons. First, Tesla's own pricing strategy. Tesla cut new Model 3 standard range prices in Australia 3 times between 2023 and 2025 by a combined $19,000. Every cut to the new price drove down the used price beneath it. Second, the arrival of the refreshed Model 3, internally called Highland, in late 2024. The refreshed car looks visibly different. Used buyers can identify a pre-Highland car immediately, and they price it as the older model. Third, the Tesla service network access issues already covered in our earlier report on cars Australian mechanics refuse to work on. Owners who cannot service their car at a local independent workshop become reluctant resellers and reluctant buyers. If you own a 2021 or 2022 Tesla Model 3 standard range in Australia today, the next valuation you pull will not surprise you. It will simply confirm what the market has already decided. Vehicle 5, the Polestar 2, sold in Australia between 2022 and 2024. Original drive-away price for the 2022 long-range single motor, $76,400. Current Redbook trade-in valuation, $31,000. 40.6% retention, a loss of over $45,000. The Polestar 2 is, by every reviewer measure, an excellent vehicle. Strong build, premium interior, capable powertrain. The reason it is collapsing in the used market has nothing to do with the car. It has to do with 3 things happening simultaneously to the Polestar brand in Australia. First, Polestar's annual Australian sales fell sharply in 2025, raising public questions about brand survival. Second, Polestar's launch of the Polestar 3 and Polestar 4 has shifted the brand's marketing focus entirely away from the Polestar 2, which is now positioned as the entry-level model in a lineup it was never designed to anchor. Third, Volvo's parent Geely restructured its Polestar ownership stake in 2024. Owners reading financial press have absorbed the uncertainty whether they wanted to or not. Used buyers are pricing in brand risk. Whether the risk is real or perceived no longer matters. The valuations have already moved. Vehicle 6, the BMW iX3, sold in Australia between 2022 and 2024. Original drive-away price for the 2022 model, $114,900. Current Redbook trade-in valuation, $47,000. 40.9% retention, a loss of nearly $68,000 in 3 years. This is the largest single vehicle dollar loss on this list. The iX3 was a transitional vehicle, built on the same platform as BMW's petrol X3, with an electric drivetrain bolted in. Range, charging speed, and interior packaging were all compromised by the shared platform. BMW's purpose-built electric SUV, the iX, made the iX3 visibly second-tier almost immediately after launch. And the upcoming Neue Klasse platform vehicles, due to arrive in Australia from 2026 onward, will make the iX3 look like a previous era entirely. Luxury buyers, the only segment with the budget to buy these vehicles new, also have the budget to upgrade. They are not buying 3-year-old transitional EVs. The used market knows this. Vehicle 7, the Mercedes-Benz EQC, sold in Australia between 2020 and 2023. Original drive-away price for the 2021 EQC 400, $141,000. Current Red Book trade-in valuation, $53,000. 37.6% retention, a loss of over $88,000. The lowest retention rate of any vehicle on this list. Mercedes discontinued the EQC globally in 2024, replacing it with the EQE SUV. The EQC was, even at launch, criticized for its conservative range, slow charging, and styling that looked like a slightly modified GLC rather than a purpose-built electric vehicle. 3 years later, that initial criticism has compounded into market consensus. The EQC is, in 2026, the worst-performing luxury electric vehicle in the entire Australian used market. If you bought an EQC new in 2020 or 2021, you are holding the largest individual depreciation loss of any electric vehicle Mercedes has ever sold in Australia. Vehicle 8, the Audi e-tron, the original first-generation SUV, sold in Australia between 2019 and 2023. Original drive-away price for the 2021 55 Quattro, $148,000. Current Red Book trade-in valuation, $54,000, 36.5% retention, a loss of over $94,000. Audi rebranded the entire e-tron lineup in 2024 to the Q6 and Q8 e-tron naming convention. Owners of the original e-tron now own a vehicle whose model name no longer exists in the manufacturer's current marketing. That alone would be survivable. What is not survivable is the parallel arrival of the Audi Q6 e-tron on a purpose-built electric platform with twice the charging speed and a substantially longer real-world range at a similar new car price point. Used buyers see the original e-tron and see a discontinued nameplate built on a converted petrol platform competing against a brand new ground-up electric vehicle from the same manufacturer. The math finishes itself. Every electric vehicle on this list shares one thing. They were sold as the future, and then the future kept moving. The buyer who paid premium for the first wave is now competing on the used market against the buyer who waited for the second wave. And the manufacturers, the same companies who marketed urgency in 2021 and 2022, are now selling newer, better, cheaper versions of the same vehicles to a fresh audience. The early adopter pays for the late adopter's value. That is not unique to electric vehicles, but the speed at which it has happened in the Australian electric vehicle market is unique. 22% annual depreciation is not a market. It is a clearance. Here is what every Australian electric vehicle owner should do today. Pull up redbook.com.au. Pull up car sales. Search for your exact model and year. Look at the asking prices for vehicles already sitting on the market for over 45 days. Those are the prices the dealers cannot move at. Subtract another 15%. That is your trade-in reality today. The benchmark, the same one we use in every report on this channel, is the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. 81 to 84% of value retained at 3 years. Self-charging, service network unmatched, workshop accepted everywhere. The brands that protect your investment are the ones the Australian market still trusts. With 8 electric vehicles now retaining less than half their value at 3 years, that list is not just short, it is contracting. Subscribe to the Calder report. Every week, we show you exactly what is moving in the Australian car market before it moves past you.